It's football season, and Rainy Richlands is here to crush the competition. Our unbeatable lineup of cars, trucks, and SUVs will leave you feeling like a champion every time you hit the road. Whether you're driving through rugged terrain or cruising down the city streets, Rainy Richlands has the perfect ride to tackle any challenge. Rainy Richlands is the game changer you need to take your driving experience to the next level. It's your deal, your way. Visit one of our dealerships today or shop online at RainyRichlands.com.
Hello folks, you're watching After the Whistle, episode 7.6. I'm your host Brian Moore, flying solo today, but we do have a couple of interviews that we're going to throw in on this show. Region D, it's time for your football fix. All right, inconspicuous by his absence, of course, is Coach Krieger, but hopefully he'll be back next week. But we're going to go straight to the scoreboard here from last week and take a look at some scores. Holston 42, Northwood 0. Hayden Sinclair had 176 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns for the Cavaliers in the win. Grundy defeated Hurley 27-0, and with the win, Grundy becomes the Black Diamond District champions. They're the first school to capture a district championship this year. Logan Lester had 124 yards rushing and 97 yards passing in the win. Union 54, Wise 0. Union held Wise to 76 yards of total offense. Union continues to impress. George Wythe 40, J.I. Burton 30. Trey Rainey 257 yards rushing, proving once again he's one of the top running backs, if not the top back in Region D. Gate City 42, Lehigh 39. This was an absolute shootout. Gate City led 42-13 going into the fourth and final period, and then boom, Pendergraft happened. 5 touchdown passes in the final period, but it came up just a little bit short for Lehigh. 42-39, once again, Gate City. Tazewell 31, Marion 7. Marion had no pass attempts in this game, and that matches the number of wins they have for the season, which is 0. Hurricanes continue to struggle. Rural Retreat 19, Chilhowie 14. Ball possession was the key in this game, as Rural Retreat in the first half held the ball 19 out of 24 minutes and was able to maintain control of the clock. Honaker 40, Narrows 35, not quite as many points as they put up last year, but nonetheless a great game. Honaker has now won 2 straight. Thomas Walker 34, Twin Valley 6. Dylan McCurry passed 1,000 yards rushing for the season for Pioneers. Eastside 51, Twin Springs 14. The Spartans had 490 yards of offense. Twin Springs struggled all night with 126 yards of offense. And then Ridgeview 55, John Battle 0. Ridgeview had 2 quarterbacks who were 8 for 8 on passing for the evening for 4 touchdown passes. That takes care of our scoreboard from last week. Folks, fresh is not a gimmick. We say this all the time. Bellacino's bakes their bread fresh every single day at all of their locations. Whether it be a salad, a grinder, anything you order there is always made to order at Bellacino's. Bellacino's been using the same recipe since 1959. Grandpa Sam implemented it then, and it's still going strong today. Stop by and visit Bellacino's in Grundy, Virginia, and find out just exactly what we're talking about. For the absolute freshest meal in town, it's Bellacino's. Great food, great service, and great times. And with that, let's talk about our Bellacino's Player of the Week. Each week we select a young man from one of the Buchanan County schools that serves the Grundy Bellacino's area. And this week's most valuable player, or player of the week I should say, is Mr. Logan Lester from Grundy High School. Logan had 124 yards rushing, 97 yards passing in the win against Hurley, and Grundy with that win captures the BDD crown, and Grundy seems to be peaking at about the right time, and Coach Krieger and I have been talking about that. Don't be surprised if they're not sticking around there at the end when region playoffs come along, but in order for them to do that, they're going to have to get some of those rating points up. All right, let's talk about some peak performances around Southwest Virginia for the past week. We're going to start with Mr. Peyton Music, 359 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception in his game against Narrows. And with that pass, he cracks the top 10 all-time touchdown leader in Buchanan County. So he's inside that, Buchanan County, listen to me. Virginia, he's inside the top 10 now in Virginia. Brennan Pendergraft, 459 yards passing and 6 touchdowns for Lehigh in their loss to Gate City, 42-39. Just a great performance for him and an incredible performance in the fourth period alone. Shout out to Omari Hill, 6 sacks and multiple tackles for loss in Graham's big win against Lebanon. Not often do you see too many people on the defensive side of the ball get mentioned here, but definitely one of the peak performances of this past week. And then we have Mr. Trey Rainey from George Wythe. Trey had 17 carries, 2 touchdowns, 257 yards rushing for George Wythe. And then we have Mr. Carter Creasy from Tazewell High School. Carter broke the VHSL record for most completions this past week. I want to congratulate him for that. He is now number 1 all-time in VHSL on pass completions, Carter Creasy. And our After the Whistle peak performer of the week this week, and this is a first, folks. We've never picked someone that actually ended up losing a game, but we're going with Brennan Pendergraft here. 459 yards passing, 6 touchdowns in the loss to Gate City. Valiant effort and a great performance by Brennan Pendergraft, and we're congratulating him on being our After the Whistle peak performer of the week. All right. Well, from the time you walk into the showroom till you sit around and talk to some of the salesmen, you're going to find out that Ramey Chevrolet in Richlands is one of the best places that you can shop to find the right new or pre-owned vehicle for you or your family. And folks, it doesn't end there. Not only do they have a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, they offer a huge selection, but in addition to that, they have the parts department. They have a service and repair center that is second to none. Stop by and see them, and as always at Ramey Chevrolet, they will help you do the deal, and I promise you they'll put you in the right vehicle for you and your family. Stop by and let them know that After the Whistle sent you. All right, our Talking Smack segment this week, we're going to mention a few little headlines here. First and foremost, we would like to send out our condolences to head coach Neil Johnson. Coach Johnson recently passed away, and we here at After the Whistle highly recommend that if you're not familiar with Coach Johnson and his accolades and his long-standing history throughout Southwest Virginia, that you pick up a copy of the Tri-Cities Bristol Herald-Courier and read the article that Tim Hayes just recently did on him. It provides great insight, and it's in addition to that, it's a great tribute to him. For those of you who don't know, he's a former Saltville Shaker standout on the gridiron. He's a legendary coach. He had some stints at Jonesville, Thomas Walker, and at Northwood. And probably the thing that most people remember most about him, his players, of course, is the fact that he's such a great motivator. But it was the comments and the way he coached his football teams. He was always very passionate about the way he coached. And some of the comments and quotes that he gave to the media still have people laughing a little bit today. I highly recommend you read the article. I won't give away any of them, but there's some pretty darn good ones in that article. Once again, our condolences to Coach Neil Johnson, whose son Tim, by the way, just passed away just a short while ago. That family going through a lot at this time. Up next in our Talking Smack segment, we're going to talk about Grundy High School. First team to clinch a district title in the Region D so far is Grundy High School, And Grundy picked up the win against Hurley the other night, 27-0 behind running game and a strong passing game with Logan Lester, who's turning out to be one of the premier athletes, all-around players in Southwest Virginia right now. Grundy with that wins the BDD. And speaking of the BDD, it's hard to even comprehend that we've got one more year of Black Diamond District athletics. It's diminished in size over the years, but it's been a long-standing staple throughout the region, and we have one more year of BDD athletics remaining. It's hard to believe it's going away, but it'll be interesting to see how next season rolls around. Grundy, Twin Valley, and Hurley, of course, fielding teams in football, and then in all the other sports they had council. All right. Also want to mention in talking smack, Carter Creasy from Tazewell High School. He broke the VHSL record for the most pass completions. Now sits atop the VHSL record board. We mentioned it just a minute ago. Pick up that record book. His name's now going to be in it. We would like to congratulate him as he continues to lead Tazewell Bulldogs this season and on his past and future accomplishments as well. Carter Creasy, VHSL record holder. All right, folks, and our last thing on Talking Smack, we have WCYB, Friday Night Rivals. Our game of the week this week is going to be Lebanon at Virginia High. That game has been moved to Saturday at 1 o'clock. Make sure you check it out. You'll be able to watch that one on News 5. Of course, if you have the NFHS network, it'll be available there as well. This is a really big game in Southwest Virginia. It could secure at least a second place finish, possibly for one of these two teams in the Southwest District. But even more importantly, it could wrap up a number 4 spot in the regional playoffs with a win. So this is going to be a big game atmosphere. Get out to G. Malcolm Stadium, especially if the weather's been like it is. It's going to be a great crowd, great atmosphere, and I'm expecting a really great football game, to be honest with you. We'll talk a little bit more about that in our pigskin prognostications. All right, that does it for our Talking Smack segment. Up next, we have our top 5 rankings. Our top 5 rankings in 1A and in 2A, and then we'll go over our Super 7. First of all, in 2A, we've got coming in at number 5, Virginia High Bearcats. Number 4, the Ridgeview Wolfpack. Number 3, we have the Lebanon Pioneers. And number 2, we have the Union Bears. And number 1, we have the Graham G-Men. All right, and I think we got those numbers flipped around there, so I apologize. We have Ridgeview coming in at number 5 and Virginia High at number 4. So my apologies on that. Gate City, Tazewell on the outside looking in right now. All right, let's go over to 1A. And in 1A right now, number 5, we have the Rural Retreat Indians coming in at 5. Number 4, we've got the Honaker Tigers. A little bit of controversy here. Coming in at number 3, we've got the Holston Cavaliers. And yes, we know Honaker defeated Holston. But based on power rankings and some of the way some previous games have turned out, Holston is still just a slight nod ahead of them in our rankings. Number 2, we have the Eastside Spartans. And number 1, still unbeaten, we have the Rye Cove War Eagles. And would like to mention Rye Cove and Graham are the 2 only unbeaten teams remaining in Region D, and there's about 3 squads that are still yet winless. But Rye Cove and Graham at 1 in their respective divisions. All right, now let's go to our Super 7. We'll start out with number 7. The Super 7, number 7 team coming in is the Ridgeview Wolfpack. Wolfpack slid back a little bit, but they're back at number 7, working their way back up after that loss a few weeks ago. Coming in at number 6, we've got the Virginia High Bearcats. Bearcats are a team that has been a sleeper and dark horse for us all year, and we really think that we've yet to see what they're capable of this season. We expect a good playoff run out of them. Number 5, we've got the Rye Cove War Eagles. They're only 1A team to actually crack the top Super 7 here. And number 4, Lebanon Pioneers, coming off that very competitive loss with Graham the other night. They're sliding in at number 4. Number 3, the Abingdon Falcons. We're about to find out exactly what their pecking order is in not just Mountain 7, but throughout Region D, as they're starting to move into some key Mountain 7 games moving forward. Number 2, we have the Union Bears. And at number 1, and they have been for a considerably long time, the Graham G-Men. And as Krieger says, in order to be the team, you got to beat the team. So that rounds out our Super 7 picks. Let's go straight. Normally at this time, we would go to Stump the Craig, of course, but we don't have Krieger here with us. But I assure you that we do have the questions sealed, and they are secure in a bank vault, and no one has access to them at this time. With that being said, let's go to our pigskin prognostications. Let's take a look at this week's coming games and give some thoughts on them. We got Ridgeview and Abingdon. Ridgeview at Abingdon. The Falcons plus 6.5. They're the underdog. In our opinion, this is one of the 2 major games to watch this week in Southwest Virginia. We may find out just how good Abingdon is. We may find out if Ridgeview hasn't been able to bounce back from that loss to Graham. All right, with that being said, let's move on to our next one. With that game there, we're going to pick Abingdon. We've got Abingdon winning this one with the run game. Pulaski County at Graham. Pulaski County with only 1 win on the season. G-Men cruise in this one without any problem. Central at Lee. This game here, Central not having the type of season naturally they want. Lee at times showing just flashes of brilliance, especially that fourth quarter comeback the other night where they almost pulled it off against Gate City. But we're going to go with Lee in this one. John Battle at Gate City. John Battle, one of those winless teams in Region D. Gate City big in this one. We have Lebanon at Virginia High. The Bearcats are minus 3.5 favorite. Upset alert here. After the whistle, we're calling it right now. Virginia High to pick up the win at Gene Malcolm on Saturday against the Lebanon Pioneers. Marion at Grundy. The Wave are 11.5-point underdogs. Grundy should be able to pick up another win in this one and move forward into the Region D playoffs picture a little bit better with a win here. Tazewell at Giles. The Spartans are 20.5-point underdogs. Tazewell should be able to get things rolling here, and I think Giles has been very competitive in a lot of games as of late, but Tazewell should be able to pull this one out. Narrows at East Montgomery. East Montgomery struggling once again this year, even though Narrows isn't quite the team that they have been. They gave Honaker all they could handle the other night. Narrows in this one big. Hurley at Tulsa, West Virginia. The fact that the Rebels are traveling across state lines probably puts them down 14 already. We're going with Tulsa in this one. Riverview, West Virginia at Twin Valley. Riverview has a little bit of talent over there this year. In a few key positions, and unfortunately for Twin Valley, they're just outmanned in this one. Riverview takes this one on the road. J.I. Burton at Castlewood. Mustard Biscuit Brigade hosting this one. The Blue Devils are 16.5-point underdogs. They probably cover, but we're going to go with Burton to get the win in this one. J.I. Burton. East Side at Tom Walker. This ought to be a pretty good game, at least for the first half. I think Thomas Walker will probably wear down to the physicality of East Side in the second half. We're going with East Side with the win here. Chilhowee at Rye Cove. The War Eagles are 23.5-point favorites to win this one. I think they cover with the with the running game in the second half. Chilhowee is going to be all game, at least for the first half. But that Rye Cove War Eagle rushing game wears teams down in the second half. And they take rather close games and blow them open. And you see what they did to East Side the other night. I expect the same against Chilhowee. Twin Springs at Hancock County, a team that's riddled by injuries. Twin Springs, they have won 2 games this year, both coming on the Tennessee side. I think they're going to pick up win number 3 here. Here's hoping Coach Warner and company get the job done. Johnson County at Holston. Not really sure about Johnson County and what they have, but I think the Cavaliers moving in the right direction. I think Holston wins this one. Patrick Henry at Honaker. This is another one of those games to watch. Our other game to watch, of course, being Ridgeview and Abingdon. But Patrick Henry at Honaker. If Patrick Henry has improved in the injury department, they could run their way to a victory in this game. The Tigers are 8.5-point favorites. I'm going to go with Honaker. They seem to have a little bit of momentum right now, and music creeping into the record books as well over there at the quarterback position. Honaker. Rural Retreat at Northwood. Northwood's picked up a few wins this year, but Rural Retreat is a team that is tough physically, and they have a pretty solid defense. Rural Retreat will take care of business in this one. Galax at Richlands. Richlands is 2.5-point favorites. We're going to go with the Blues in this. This is homecoming. Richlands snaps the 18 or 19 game losing streak with a big homecoming win against Galax. Hard to believe Galax has yet to win since that state championship game last year. They too have been struggling all season. All right, with that being said, that's all of our game pick'ems for this week. Remind you, Richlands, Marion, and John Battle are still remain winless. I believe Richlands will get into the win column this week. Graham and Rye Cove are the only unbeatens in Region D, and I don't look for either one of them to be beaten anytime soon. With that, that is all that we have for After the Whistle this week. Until next time, I'm Coach Moore, reminding you that sometimes women make fools of men. But trust me, men do a much better job of it. Good day.